welcome to the Me and Her Travel Podcast. This is episode 26, and we're thrilled to bring you our year in review. We had a bold and adventurous 2025 in which I quit my job and at the end of January, technically retired. And since then, we have been traveling as much as possible. In this episode, we will recap destinations we explored and which were our favorites, or maybe not, approximately how many days we were on the road, and how we did with our goals of making money on the fly to support our wanderlust. From a personal perspective, we will also share our thoughts on all the time that we have been spending together as a couple, wink wink, and we'll discuss the joys and challenges of how we are doing with the transition into an early and unsupported retirement phase of life. So please, stay with us as we reflect on our attempt at becoming digital nomads and whether or not we will continue to do so.
Wheels up!
We're gonna be two hearts running wild.
Thank you for joining us. My name is Julie, and I am joined now and forever by my husband, Tony.
Hello again.
If you've been listening to our podcast from the beginning, we appreciate you, and we're grateful for your support. We have had so much fun gaining the content for this podcast, and actually, we really enjoyed creating the podcast itself. It's been a unique way for us to process and analyze our adventures, and discussing our destinations with each other after the fact has been eye-opening and a new way to appreciate our trips and each other's unique perspective. We hope that you've enjoyed our talks, and we really hope that we have helped you curate some trips of your own.
So let's dig in. It has been a busy year, and just for the record, we did not have it all planned out from the start to finish, and many of our trips were spontaneous, and in some cases with only a couple weeks lead time. I'm going to give some stats right now, just for fun, just to tell you what we did throughout the year. So we visited 15 and 14 countries because I had one more than Julie.
Whatever.
So
who's counting?
We had Costa Rica, Mexico, which I did by myself, St. Martin in the Caribbean, Dominican Republic, Italy, San Marino, the Vatican City, Germany, Egypt, Ireland, Northern Ireland, Scotland, England, Guatemala, and Belize. And before anybody starts in and says, well, Northern Ireland and Scotland, these are part of the, like the UK, guess what? They're constituent countries. They are countries, and people in those places consider themselves countries. If we want to get into a whole nother podcast and debate about what's a country, we can do that some other time. But for now, they're countries.
Do another thing that we have to debate?
What's that?
I mean, Germany. So we basically went to the Frankfurt airport.
Okay.
So we have a long-standing
argument
in our family and with friends. What constitutes actually being able to count that country?
We have differing opinions, and there's a lot of people that have much different criteria.
Yeah. I mean, I think we passed through the Frankfurt airport. I didn't count Germany as somewhere I went this year, really.
We got off the plane and we're walking around with ground on our feet. So anyways, moving on. We also took some domestic trips, including New York City, Tucson, Green Bay, Nashville. Oh my gosh, for the concert. And northern Minnesota.
Woo woo.
So days away from home were approximately 152 days. Wow. That's approximately just shy of 42% of the year away from our home. Not bad. That's for a first year. And this is slightly different between the two of us because I took some trips with a trip without Julie at one point. So
do you think that is more or less than you anticipated when we started this year?
This year, I think that's way more than I anticipated. Just because it's our first year of trying this, and I don't even know.
Sounds like a lot.
I think it is a lot, 42%. I think that actually might be more than what we do this year. We don't know. We'll see.
I don't know about that.
That could be a funds issue.
Yeah, yes, it might be. So in case you haven't listened to our other podcasts, and please go back and listen to some. I actually just listened to our original podcast today because I wanted to remind myself, what we talked about in that first episode, what our purpose was. So our main goal was to have meaningful travel centered around unique experiences. And I think we succeeded with that this year because we took a multi-generational Caribbean cruise. We built an entire month in Italy around one epic destination concert. And that also included our first international 2-week pet sit, which was so great. We also toured Egypt, and we were able to actually climb inside the largest pyramid to the burial chamber. We also cheered on the Minnesota Vikings with 2 back-to-back football games abroad, and we stayed with a former exchange student and his family in Belfast, Ireland. So yes, I think we achieved that goal of having meaningful and unique experiences.
It's kind of a wow of what an amazing year it was and how many things we did do and stuff that we didn't have even on the radar at all at the beginning of the year. So
It actually was easy to lose track
very
a little bit.
easily.
You know, you kind of get so kind of caught up in packing and unpacking, and people are like, "Where are you going? Where did you go?" I'm like, "Ah."
And nobody wants to hear complaints about how the logistics of planning it all goes, but it's in depth. It takes a lot of time to plan that many trips
Yeah.
and all that goes with it.
Yeah, it's not
That's
easy.
a whole nother episode.
It's
if we
not
want to do
easy.
one.
That's for sure.
So, on to our year in review questions. So, Julie and I did some questions. Now, let's just get this out there for the record. We did not discuss these answers at all with each other. So, we have absolutely no idea what the other person's going to say now. And it's going to make for some maybe weird content and also how it comes across to you because we might be a little flustered or taken off guard by what the other person says.
So we apologize now
Yeah.
if we have a domestic.
Domestic or flubs. I'm like, I know I'm going to screw this up at some point. But anyways, just to keep you in suspense, we will be saving our air quotes best and favorites to the end or close to the end. So you're going to have to listen to find out what our favorites were for the year. So, Julie, why don't you take us on to question number 1?
Okay, so is there a place or an experience that really surprised you? So, not necessarily your favorite or anything, but what surprised you? Maybe you loved it, or maybe you hated it, or was it just completely different than you anticipated?
So I got 2 answers for this one. One, with the expectation and the hype, Ireland is still so special. And I'm not sure if I will ever tire of the Irish music in the pubs. I think that was just amazing. And that experience of, I was so hyped up.
So that surprised you, or didn't
It did
surprise
surprise
you?
me.
It did surprise you.
It surprised me as to how much I loved Ireland. Because everybody's like, oh, I want to move to Ireland, or I think Ireland's great. You hear that and you're like, oh, yeah. And then you think you're going to go there and you're just going to travel around and see some cliffs and drive on some beautiful roads. But the people and everything about it was so much more than I expected. I fell in love, and I could live there. Absolutely, I
Well,
could
the
live in Ireland.
first time you went to Ireland, it was on a layover. And so you didn't have a lot of time to experience some of those fun things. So this time you had more time to soak it up, and it really was probably
Yeah,
more
it
meaningful
was way
to
more
you.
meaningful, and we didn't do it justice. I mean, we'll talk about that more, I'm
No.
sure. My second one was that we love going to New York City. You and I love traveling to New York City. But for the price tag of a 5-day trip to New York City, which we did,
Ouch.
we could have probably done 10 days in Europe for the same price, same amount of money spent, which kind of hurts a little bit. And that bothers me that we spend that much money going to New York City because it's costly to do. But it's just, it took me aback when I kind of thought about it after the fact. I'm like, wow, we went through some dough on that trip.
Yeah, and I think we actually stayed for free because I think we used our
Right.
points. So then it was just activities, and that was, well, it was meals, cocktails, and shows. Yeah.
There's a lot.
Yeah,
How about
that
you?
is a lot. So I have like more specific things. So I was surprised by the accessibility and the intimacy and the emptiness of the Flavian Amphitheater in Pazuli. So
Mm.
that is very specific. But that moment for me, when we were in that amphitheater all by ourselves at like, I don't know, 9:30 in the morning, this giant coliseum, basically, one of the
A
largest in the
mini
world.
Roman, like from Rome, a mini Colosseum.
Yes, and we were the only ones there. And we could go underground where they have all the animal cages and where the gladiators would have been waiting. We got to see all of that area by ourselves and take photos and just soak it in and realize we were in the same place that they were 2,000 years ago. And then we could go up and stand in the middle of the arena like we were the gladiator and look around as if people are watching us. That is maybe one of my most favorite moments of the entire year. It was so cool to me.
There's so many of these Roman amphitheaters around, and some of them, we've been to quite a few of them now, and there's a few ones that we want to get, checked off our list, but that was an incredible experience. Now, for some, I guess, understanding of that, that was closed for years. and just reopened, I think, a couple months before, like 2
I
months
didn't know
prior to
that.
us. Yeah, it was closed for renovations. It was only opened like 2 months prior to us being in that area by Naples. So a lot of people just assumed it was still closed. So
Hmm.
that's what the person told me at the gate was like, hey, people still don't know this is their marketing hasn't caught up to date.
Okay, well, that makes a ton more sense because I just couldn't understand why Rome could be inundated with thousands, if not millions, of people in the Colosseum, and this one was literally abandoned, and the two of us were there.
Lucky us.
I don't. It was very special. Okay, so that was one. Then I also thought that the stunning size and what's the word I'm looking for? Relative obscurity of Caserta
Mm.
was astounding. So Caserta is a palace just outside of Naples that is larger than Versailles. And again, there's like hardly anybody there. We had this palace basically to ourselves.
Yeah, you know what? This format that we're doing where I don't know what you're gonna say just brought back waves of memories. Like when you said it, I
Yeah.
was like, oh yeah, that was
I mean, the
so
first
cool.
thing that you probably remember is the ungodly heat.
Yeah, it was like 104, and we were decided to take bicycles. Thank God there were motorbikes, like
Yeah.
e-bikes.
Yeah.
But to get from one end of the compound to the other is like a mile and a half, 2 miles. So you got to e-bike a long ways. If we had to walk that just to go up to those gardens at the other end, no way.
Pure misery. But it was so beautiful. The rooms were just as beautiful as anything in Versailles. And that it is so underrated and undervisited is just wild to me. Okay, so then my third one, this is my last one. I kind of realized after our last trip that I think I'm a jungle person. So we've been to Costa Rica. We went to the Monteverde Cloud Forest, and then we just got back from Guatemala and Belize, and we were also in Uganda a couple years ago. And I really enjoy the jungle more so than the ocean. I think the peace and the quiet and I don't know, the lushness. I mean, Tony likes the birds, blah, blah, blah. But I really enjoyed the jungle.
You know what? You say ocean, but water. I love the water. I love the jungle. The jungle has been mesmerizing to me over the last couple of years here. I don't care for sand as much and the beach. Like I could give or take the beach.
Yeah, we both agree sand is not our friend.
Right. But jungle's way over the beaches. But water, that's a different story. Like I'd be a hard time to say I would rather, have the jungles over being near water. I like water.
Yeah.
But
Well,
you got to get the beach usually with that, so that kind of is my out. So
yeah. Okay, interesting. So is there a place that you feel like you don't need to go back again?
I have two, and one's going to be kind of surprising to you.
Really?
The first one is the Dominican Republic, and granted, I think that it's tainted because we saw it via a cruise ship. So we got the cruise ship version of Dominican Republic, and we have a lot of friends that go there and they love it and all that. But I think a lot of that also is beaches and resorts. I don't know if I need to go and spend a time to take a trip back to the
Maybe they
Dominican
have a
Republic.
really cool jungle.
Yep, and I think they do. I just don't know about it. So if I had to say one off the top of my head, it would be that.
Okay.
Now the second one, I would say traditional Egypt. Now, like
What?
So, yeah. Ooh.
I don't even know what that
So,
means.
okay, let me clarify. So Cairo and the Nile, which is what we did with all the cultural icons and all the things that we did, amazing. Like ridiculous amazing. Every single person alive should go do that. But I think that to go and see the pyramids again or go down the Nile on a cruise and see the same things that we saw, I think that I would lose a little bit of what I already experienced. And I don't know if it'd be as magical to me. And maybe like I'd be disappointed because I already saw those in depth. Like we went and saw a lot of those attractions. Now there's other attractions, but I don't know if I need to go back and see the pyramids standing there again to be like, oh my gosh, wow, look at this. I've already done that. Now, if you say Egypt and the Red Sea and diving and the resorts that are on the Red Sea, which is a little bit of sand, but you know what I mean. It's a lot about swimming and it's on the water. It is stunning, and I would go there in a millisecond. Egypt, Cairo, pyramids, museums, and south on the Nile. I don't need to go back.
Okay, so to clarify, you said you wouldn't go back to traditional Egypt. What
Yes,
you
I
really
did.
mean is iconic Egypt, like the big things. Because
Correct.
I thought you meant like traditional, cultural Egypt.
I love it all.
And I'm
It's
like, I
amazing.
don't
Everybody
understand.
should go. But I don't
Okay.
need to go back.
I understand. I mean,
It's a schlep,
once you've
too.
seen the pyramids, you've kind of seen the pyramids.
Right.
And I would say it's one of the most spectacular trips we've ever taken, and I'm recommending everybody to do it. But I agree with you. People are like, "Oh, would you go back?" I'm like, well, I don't know that I would go back and do the same thing. I don't think
There you go.
I agree with you. With
But
that.
there are places in this world where I go back and do the exact same thing over and over.
True, and we have.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. How about you?
Okay. I have 3-ish kind of. I'm kind of done with Nashville for a while.
All right. I can get on board.
It's just become so commercial and so full of giant bachelorette parties. And
we
when
can't
I
drink
can't,
like that anymore.
well, we are not interested,
Right.
in that. And I mean, we talk a lot about cocktails and speakeasy and things like that. Yes, we enjoy that because it's kind of experiential. We are not the go sit at a bar and pound 27 beers kind of people.
Or any beer.
Actually, or any beer. Neither one of us can have it right now. Yeah, so that's not our thing. And a lot of times when you go into the bars in Nashville, you're not even hearing country music. And that's what I want to
Yeah.
go there for. So it's lost a little bit of its luster for me. And it's fun. Don't get me wrong. It's kind of like Vegas. You just don't need to go that often. Or if you do, we need to shorten our time because we've had too much time.
Yeah, we've
the
had
last
some
few
long
times.
trips to Nashville.
And then also
3 nights max.
I don't need to go back to Tamarindo, Costa Rica.
I agree with that location. I think maybe we did not, and we've talked about this before. I think we've sold Costa Rica maybe a little short. People love it, but
Yep.
Maybe some other areas and go see some other experiences.
Yep,
do
I
some other
agree.
experiences
We
in Costa
pulled the
Rica.
trigger on that trip really quickly, and we just kind of had
Yeah.
to go with it. And
was for New
we
Year's.
we had fun. I liked it, but I do think I would like some other places better. And when we went up to the Cloud Forest, I really loved that. So Tamarindo, could take or leave it. And then also
Your third-ish one?
my third-ish one is I just don't think I need another Caribbean cruise.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Cruises in general, I love them and I hate them. And we've discussed this a little bit before, but I love them for what they are and ease and getting to and from places, but I hate them for a lot of reasons.
They're fun because you get to see multiple destinations, but they're also not fun for that exact same reason because you don't get any quality time in those destinations. And I kind of feel this is going to be some coarse language, so forgive me, but I kind of feel like as cruise shippers, you get off the ship and you rape that town and you run back in. I mean, I kind of feel that way. You descend upon this community in hordes of people. And I know that
It's
some
a necessary evil for a lot
I
of
know they
things, though,
depend
too.
on
Yep.
that income. I do understand that. But you can also only go so far. You can only do so much. You've got constrictions with time. And I just feel like it leaves me feeling a little hollow and like I didn't get to appreciate the culture of that community or destination. So you kind of just have to know what you're getting into and you like plan to go do one fun thing and that's it. But I don't know.
Okay, let me ask you a question about that. Hypothetically, if we were to go on a cruise that never did a port and it was all about just being on the boat, would that have a different feel to it? For
I
you?
would not do that.
Okay, but
Why would I do that?
I like the boat. I like.
I don't
some
like being
aspects-
on the water that much.
Now, see, I do. So there's the difference. I mean, I would feel better about that though.
I don't know. That's weird because then you're just going from trivia contest to
True.
pool to bingo
aerobics to-
to
Yeah.
jazz.
Okay. All right. All right. Okay. Then let's do an add-on. What place would you go back to right now from this last year? So this year, 2025, of the places we went to, what would be your place that you would say I could go back right now?
Okay, this is one of those off the cuff questions.
Yeah, I
You
put
said
you
you're
on the
going to ask
spot.
me. I forgot. Well, I mean, so I have to pick one that's different than my favorite that we're going to
just
talk
like-
about later.
No, this is a place that you feel like you could go to and you haven't even scratched the surface, or you don't care if you're seeing the same thing twice.
And I only have to pick one?
One,
Or I can
just
pick
one
more.
spot, just one spot.
Oh, jeez. The pressure. It's pretty easy for me.
Okay,
Rome again and again and over again and again.
so
And over
Rome
repeat.
is my answer as well.
I know we love Rome so much.
Yeah, and we've been there a lot of times, but honestly, I could go back and you could stay in a different part of the city and see something.
I
new
wouldn't even
every
stay
time.
in a different part of the city.
No, I know that was pretty fun. This last one was pretty fun, but
I'm like, when we go to London, we
Travis
like
Story.
to stay in different parts of the city because there's so many cool neighborhoods, or even in Paris.
well, so was there.
But in Rome, no, they're just every.
Why are we whispering.
I don't know.
She
Trust
loves to
Every.
whisper. I'm like, you're on a podcast. Stop whispering. Anyways, all right, moving on.
Okay, moving on.
Okay, one of the things we've mentioned, there are some that we have not podcasted about yet. So
Yeah.
just to give you a little bit of a tease to encourage you to stay tuned beyond today, is that we intend to discuss our amazing African safaris to Tanzania and then Tanzania, and our trek through the rainforest in Uganda, where we got to hang out with mountain gorillas. Unbelievable.
Mhm.
And then we will also share details about our grand tour of Croatia that we did with our kids years ago for our anniversary.
Well, it wasn't
we brought
like
our kids.
years ago, but
It was
recent enough to still be relevant.
Oh yeah. And then the Emerald Isle of Ireland, which we just discussed a little bit, but we haven't podcasted that. And our most recent jaunt down to Belize and a little bit of Guatemala. So just to name a few and to keep you interested.
Yeah, those were some amazing destinations, and I can't wait to talk about them. Oh, shoot. I did it again. So question number 2, this is the lead-in. What have you learned about yourself through doing this podcast? Because after listening to them back, I realized that I use the words amazing and cool
Crutch.
a lot. Like a ton. I couldn't even believe how many times I said, oh, that's really amazing. Oh, that's so cool. So I apologize for that. I need to expand my vocabulary when it comes to the superlatives.
Which is huge, by the way. You have a monster vocabulary.
Well, I don't know if I have a monster vocabulary, but I do know a lot of words other people don't know.
Your lexicon is huge.
But apparently I don't when it comes to describing something that was really cool or amazing, because those are the only two I have. So I'm sorry about that. I'm going to try to do better. Also, for those of you who have gotten in depth on the website, or I'm not good about doing the show notes.
And that may go by the wayside at some point because we're just like, all right.
I don't know. I'm
is
so far
anybody going
behind.
to that?
Yeah, I don't
Do
even
we
know.
use it? Do we use it correctly? No.
I don't know. If you want to know something, please just send us a message or drop us a line or a comment, because I have not been very good about show notes, but we are more than happy to share with you where we stayed, or, our itinerary, or whatever. But,
any question.
Yeah. But so, okay, question number 2 for you. What have you learned about yourself as a podcaster?
Okay. I need to slow down. I'm a extremely fast talker in general with people in life. And when I get talking about travel, I get even more excited, so I talk even faster. Also, I need to learn how to not talk over Julie. So in our hectic life with our kids, trying to get a word in edgewise, we talk a lot and end up talking over each other. This is very much still a work in progress, but after listening to our first 3 podcasts, I needed to make drastic changes, which I did. And we're both guilty of this at times, but this is the equivalent. Julie was doing petty misdemeanors of stepping on me, where I was committing murder 1 felonies on you. So I've come a long ways, but I'm occasionally still guilty. I'm doing a little bit of crime.
Here's what I think the important difference is. Like an interjection, we're like, oh, yes, oh, I agree. Or something like that, where you kind of
Instead of me doing like this right now while you're talking.
Well, no, it's when you hijack the concept. That's where I get frustrated. It's like, I don't mind if you interject, and oh, yeah, and this too. But when you actually take over the concept and like finish my sentence and go on with it, that becomes a little harder.
Twinsies.
Well, yes, we do get very excited, and we actually can finish each other's sentences,
Yes,
we know each other so well that it's easy to do. And it's from you, it's all out of excitement.
Yes, it is.
It has you have no desire to take anything away or change what I'm saying or whatever. It has nothing like that. It's true, genuine passion, and that's okay.
And for the talking fast and the jumping in, if we do this podcasting and recording in the morning after coffee, look out. I am an absolute wreck. I mean, I am going to be 100 miles an hour and stepping on everything. So
we are learning.
Yeah. Right now it is currently 7 p.m. So
yeah, no coffee involved.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, so it's a learning process. I will say that Tony does all of the technical stuff, and you've gotten so good at that. Like, we used to have a producer when we started, and now you do it all. So I'm super proud of you, and I don't want to do any of that. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
I really have no desire to learn.
That's what you've learned about yourself as a podcaster, so you don't want to do that?
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, and I need to figure out some different verbiage. And, it's interesting, too, if anybody decides they want to start a podcast with their spouse. You have very different most people have very different styles of approaching. And you want to have nice little bullet points on the document. And
Oh, we
I
argue about this all the
literally
time.
write it out word for word verbatim because the conversation is happening in my head and it just flows out of me onto paper and I can type really fast.
Yes,
and
but
my
right now, you and
ideas come
I
fast.
are spitballing, talking, and having a conversation about something where it's not a bullet point, it's not written out, and there's no guides. We're just kind of talking right now about this subject.
Yeah.
I love this. And to keep that feel, I like bullet points. I can't sit. I'm a horrible reader, by the way. I just finished my second book, and I don't even want to tell you how long. But
And that's only because it was basically written into the first book you were written into it, so you had to. And the second one,
look,
you same guy.
listen, my buddy's a writer, so I listen to his stuff. I read his stuff. Anyways, I can not read something off of an iPad or something very well. It sounds horrible. I just can't do it. So I need bullet points. I need it to be more conversational. And we struggle with that every time we go to do a podcast.
Yeah, it's a learning progress. So, okay, moving on. Question number 3 would be, as far as things we learned about ourselves, what did you think about our year of traveling and what did you learn about yourself, if anything?
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay. Without sounding unloving, with an extra road trip that I took and I experienced last spring, I went and visited some friends in Arizona, and then I did a road trip where I went from Arizona to New Mexico to Texas, dipped into Mexico, but I'll tell you about that more later. I also love solo travel. So, and it's been a big part of my year by thinking about it, and you'll understand why. We can talk more about that later, but wow, solo travel is amazing. I had a lot of time to myself in that car and talking to myself out loud and thinking and getting into my own brain, and I loved it. I loved so much about it. But I also love traveling with you. So when we are traveling and you're traveling with your wife, you're in the moment, you're experiencing things together, but not allowing for too much reflection in those moments. Whereas when you're traveling solo, so much of that time is spent introspection and looking at what you're doing and how you're doing it, and you think about it in that moment. It's a whole different kind of a appreciation for what you're doing in that moment, where we don't get that till after we're done traveling later on when you and I travel together. So it's different. I'm not saying one's better than the other one. I mean, I every time I'm gone somewhere, even on a solo, I wish my wife was with me. I'm like, wow, why are you not here? Why am I doing this alone? And it's very sad for me in the moment. I'm very nervous about this upcoming year, and we'll talk about more. But that's one thing I learned is how much I loved solo travel.
I understand that, honey, and I'm not offended or hurt by that at all. I think I almost said amazing, but I didn't. I think that's wonderful that you've learned that about yourself. And I think one of the nice things is that when you are by yourself, you don't have to caretake for anybody. Like when you're with me, you do a lot. You're the one that typically goes and pays the bill. You're the one that communicates with the hotel. You bring our bags in. You do the driving. You are very busy watching out for me, keeping me safe, doing things for me because you're very kind and very chivalrous that way. So when you are by yourself, you just can worry about you. And it takes some mental load off and you're able to just maybe enjoy your surroundings, and you don't have to feel guilty if you want to stop in one spot for 17 hours looking for one bird. You just that was supposed to be funny.
I was not going to interject on that one. I was going to let it go.
So I appreciate that you enjoy doing that. I think that's fine. And it's funny that you mentioned road trip because for me, I didn't really learn this about myself per se, but actually, no, I'm going to say that in a minute. Okay, I'm backing up. Okay. Here's what I learned about me.
This is where we're off the rails.
Yeah, see, when we don't have everything completely written out, we kind of go backwards and forwards, but that's okay. One of the things that I learned about myself, and again, I didn't really learn it, but I confirmed it, is I do appreciate routine and structure and downtime. I am a little bit of an introvert and I do need some time to recover and to have like my own time. I like being able to start my morning quietly with my coffee and my own thoughts. And ideally, I'd like to get a workout in before jumping into the day. And it is really hard to do those things while traveling unless you're somewhere for an extended period of time, like we were on our pet sit. That was a totally different experience.
Was it amazing?
It was amazing. No, our pet sit was perfect for that. But otherwise, we're always really on the go. So I like being home in between trips to feel like a normal person for a little bit. And in addition, I did discover that I don't like our trips too close together. So we only had 1 week at home in between our Egypt trip and our Ireland trip. And that was barely enough time to unpack, do laundry, repack. And I wanted more time to process the one trip before jumping into the other one, especially when it's international travel. That was a little bit exhausting. And I just realized I didn't like that. I didn't really want to do that again. And then also, this just occurred to me, our recent trip to Belize, we decided to take kind of spontaneously, but we did December 3rd through the 12th. That's too close to Christmas. I didn't think it was going to be, and our kids weren't even going to be home this Christmas. But it was very stressful for me to come back and realize that I'm right at the cutoff for getting out Christmas presents to family and decorating and yada, yada, yada. Anyway, I'm not going to do that again unless we have stuff well in order before we go.
I just say we'd be gone for Christmas and travel over Christmas and New Year's.
Okay,
Boom,
see
done.
these are the kinds of things. This is so Tony and Julie. Tony just says, "Let's just go. What does it matter?" And Julie says, I'm sorry, we have a dog and we've got a house and we've got grandma and this is where we are constantly struggling with how to plan stuff because we come from a little bit of different place.
All
That's
right.
okay. All right, so that was a lot.
Okay, question number 4. As far as traveling with me for such long periods of time this year, what did you learn or what are your thoughts on so much togetherness? Okay, I have no idea what she's going to say. I'm very
Loaded
nervous.
question.
All right, bring it. Just go ahead and give it to me.
Well, after you've been married for a few decades, like we have, you learn a few things about yourselves, and mainly that some things will never change. For example, and I
Here
don't
we
want you
go.
to interrupt me.
Oh, boy.
No. This is actually not bad. For example, Tony at one point in our life, not that long ago, really wanted to buy a Sprinter van. And you wanted to revamp it, and you thought it'd be super amazing to travel the country together. And I basically said no. The main reason being that we would probably kill each other. I take full responsibility for being the most annoying backseat driver on the planet. I'm a terrible passenger because I consider it my special duty to keep an eye on the road for you. I think it's a male-female thing, but I harass him constantly and I can't seem to stop myself. And Ireland, man, that was some scary driving on that trip. And I think, well, there was multiple times where you got so frustrated with me. You were like, "Can you just please take a nap?" And I know this about myself, but those are the kinds of places where we don't have the most fun. And so I think we kind of need to limit those super long driving stretches. Otherwise, I don't think we had any big epiphanies about you or me or our relationship because we've been traveling together for so long.
Can I talk now?
Yes.
Okay, that was killing me not to say anything. Did I mention I went on a 9-day road trip by myself? So, okay. Well, a couple things to respond to there.
Okay.
I get it. I think the driving for you is hard enough when it's here in Minnesota and it's just casual driving, but with the stresses of left-hand side of the road and the roads being narrow in Ireland, that was crazy. And when you did settle down halfway through, it was good. But for the first 4 or 5 days, it was,
I only settled down when the
Horrible.
roads got wider.
well, yes and no, but it's tough. That's probably the only thing that we have a problem with when we're traveling because what I've learned is that I love every minute when we travel. We are at our very best as a couple when we are traveling together, I think. Yes, we bicker and have small arguments here and there, but
Not
those
very
things are
much.
not much at all. Not like when
Surprising-
we do at home.
Yeah, surprisingly less on the road when there are stressors you're not sure about than, yeah.
In general, we did very well with so much time together, like really, really well. And we have all that time here at home too. But now when we're at home and in between travels, that is when issues arise on bickering or ever getting into arguments or anything like that. Because I think traveling equals fun and excitement, and home equals stresses, money, work, family, laundry, having goals and purposes, and are you getting them done and whatnot, and expectations of each other. Whereas when you're traveling, it's fun and we just want to travel and we're exploring and it's new and it's exciting. So we don't have issues ever when we're traveling. So the goal and the summary of that is we just need to travel 100% of the time.
Ha ha, super funny. I actually want to build on that and say we're super lucky because I think we're so compatible. We share a lot of the same interests. Like we both have an obsession with history and we enjoy the same kinds of foods and we both love photography. And so when we are traveling, we generally speaking like to do the same things.
Yep.
And even though I don't really care about birds,
Liar.
no, I don't. But I do like birding because I like being in nature. I like going for the hike. I mean, so even the things that I'm not passionately in love with that you are, I'm happy to support because I still get something beneficial out of it. So we're very lucky that we're compatible because some people, some spouses are not. They want to do totally different things. And we're usually on the same page or support each other, you know, in what various things one of us wants to do. But it is also funny that you mentioned the stressors at home because there is something that I thought that I would bring up that people are just going to love this. But as advice to people who are thinking of, you know, joining the ranks of the semi-retired or fully retired, you know, when you first get married and you're like, okay, who's going to do what jobs? I don't want to do this. Okay, cool. I'll do that. You do this one. I don't want to do that. And you kind of divvy everything up.
Naturally, it works.
You naturally do that. And then for the majority of our marriage, you were the breadwinner. So you exited the home every day and I kind of took care of everything else. Now we have a complete 180.
I can see where this is going.
A little bit. So I just want people to have a conversation because now I'm the one that's leaving the house when we are home and going to work. But yet it's interesting because I'm still doing the cooking, the cleaning, and all the things that
What's
were
that
in
song?
my column.
Yes, I do the cooking. Yes, I do the clean. Okay, I don't know what that's.
I don't know what that song is. So it is a conversation. Like this year, I've just kind of let you relax and de-stress.
Oh, what does that mean for 2026?
It means I need you to vacuum once in a while
I can do that.
and maybe wash some floors. Maybe
I can vacuum.
Maybe clean some toilets and sinks.
I can vacuum.
Dust, cook, clean. Yeah. So the division of duties has been a little bit on the scale has not been equitable. Let's just say that. So that needs to get fixed a little bit, but it will. And
I don't see you mowing the yard. Don't say it's a rider because it's still mowing. Okay, go ahead.
oh my gosh, no,
Moving on.
That's all I wanted to say. So if you're trying to retire, maybe have those conversations about
Prior.
your home life.
And have them be prior to retirement so that people have expectations and understanding what is maybe expected of them so it doesn't
Yeah.
become an issue after the fact.
And honey, I don't actually even blame you. Like you honestly don't know how to do some of those things. They don't come naturally to you. You have not done them for years. So I'm not saying you should suddenly pick up doing all these things when you're like, where's the vacuum even kept? Like, I don't even know. So I don't blame you. And you're very, very willing to help out with anything whenever I ask.
There you go.
So I appreciate that.
The age-old problem with husbands and wives. If you don't ask, we don't do. But if you ask, we do.
That's very true. And it comes down to it's really the woman's fault if she doesn't communicate what her needs are.
And it shouldn't be, but that's
Well,
the way
I mean,
it works.
you should offer. Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
There's some
Boy,
distribution
we're off
there.
in the weeds on this one.
Yeah, okay. So now we're going to be your psychiatrists.
Exactly.
No, so okay. Well, let's dig a little bit more into how it's been working, not about home life, but how it's been working with you not working. So we've made some sacrifices in our life. Like we've had to cut back. So it was an expensive year. We did a lot of things. We can't keep up this pace. So we did have to do some things like we are not going out to eat as much as we used to do that. In
or
fact,
out to coffee as much.
yeah, we used to go out to coffee a
Every
lot.
single day.
And now it's maybe once a week. Well, you go a little bit more because
Yeah, but I get a black coffee. I don't get any of my lattes.
Yeah,
my
you've-
fufu lattes.
You've reduced your fufu lattes. We even cut out our TV services for a while because that's just so exorbitantly expensive. And then I cut out the little luxuries that absolutely do not need to be done. But like I don't get my nails done ever anymore. I don't get my hair colored. I can do that myself. So there are things that we have sacrificed because we want to travel and we're prioritizing those expenses instead. And then you've even added some little income things by doing some door dashing.
Yeah, I'm a dasher.
I'm a dasher. That's particularly
I only
around
do it
Christmas.
like for an hour and a half, 2 hours at the most, like once every few days or every once a week. Just if it's convenient timing and if there's extra bonus money if they're doing it at that time. So
Well, personally, I think that this year has been super good for you for de-stressing, but in the last few months, I've kind of thought to myself that I feel like you're not floundering, that isn't the word, maybe searching for a new purpose
I am.
a little bit. And maybe you need something to do. Maybe you need a new challenge. You do have some job opportunities that have come your way, not full time, and you certainly don't want that. But I
Well,
don't know. What do you think?
in the last 3 weeks, let's say, 3 opportunities have fallen into my lap potentially. One that I'm exploring right now, and maybe I'm actually doing a little bit of right now, which is a sales situation, and another one which is a full time sales situation. But I don't
No,
want to
no,
do
no,
that.
no,
I
no.
don't want to do that. And another one is another part time traveling sales kind of mentoring situation. So I'm excited about two of the three. I'm looking into the third one, but I don't want to do full time again. So it would have to be part time and flexible, and that's hard to find. I might even become a barista. If my friend Paige is listening, I'm ready to go.
Which actually would be the most perfect job for you. I've said this so many times. I mean, not only does he love coffee, but he's so good with people. I mean, you're the most social person I know. So for you to be standing behind a counter talking to every Tom, Dick, and Harry that walks in for coffee and you'll become best friends, Facebook friends with them in no time, your perfect job. Your
All right.
absolute perfect job.
Finale.
Yeah.
So a finale question. This is the one we've been, and we're dying to hear each other's answers. So the last major question is: so of all those exciting things we did, what were your favorite places or moments or experiences or anything that really stands out to you? Go.
Okay. Well, there are a lot to choose from, but I had to just think about what things would I absolutely positively would not have wanted to miss, or just like, do I think about a lot and that were really special to me. And I think one of my favorite moments was becoming friends with and walking the beach with Wiggles.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the dog that we took care of
Pet sitting in
in
Italy.
Monte dei Procida. And that was just so special. Like, we became part of their family and that dog became part of us. And we felt like we lived in that little village for 15 days and we lived like locals, and it was special. But it was Wiggles. Wiggles was so cute, and I miss Wiggles so much.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So that, I just love that. Um, and then there was this very unique sense, and I can't explain it, but just the absolute pure beauty and the sense of peace that I found when we were in Ravello.
Yeah, Ravello. Ooh.
I liked all the towns that we went to in Italy, all of them. And we love Rome, as we talked about. But there was something really special about that place. And maybe, we'd been running for a bit and we were tired, and we just get to this lush, gorgeous views. And we settled in and just was like, whoa.
We're suckers for views, though. And there's no better views than
in the world, perhaps.
Probably. That is special.
So I really, really loved that. And then a little bit more recently, something that was absolutely epic for me was coming face to face. I could say hello to King Tut, literally.
Oh, you talk about that all the time.
We were in his tomb by ourselves because for whatever reason, there was just not a whole bunch of people that went into his tomb in that moment. They're all over the Valley of the Kings in lots of different tombs, but we had that tomb for ourselves briefly. And I was like, hello, Mr. Tut.
Yeah, you were funny.
He didn't answer me, but his face is there. His body is laying there.
She really did say that, by the way.
I really did, and I just thought that was so cool. I was fascinated. I said, cool, dang it. I was fascinated by Egypt as a child, and so that was a dream come true for me, just to be literally face to face with something 2,000 years old, something that you hear about in the history books and in school, and I don't know, I just thought that was super cool. Oh, dang it.
You said cool like
I need
6
more
times.
work on this.
There you go.
Okay, so, and then my last one, and it goes back to the experiential travel and just the meaningful part of it, but staying with and touring Belfast with Jared. So that was an exchange student of our friend of ours, and he was kind enough to open his home and let us stay with him for 3 days, and learning about his life and hearing about the troubles in Northern Ireland in Belfast and hearing his firsthand stories. That was exceptionally eye-opening and powerful, and probably the most impactful thing that I did or learned this year. Yeah. Okay, so those are my favorites. I'm super curious if you have the same ones or totally different.
So that's all of your favorite moments and all
those
of
were my favorite.
Okay, so all together. So you have no more after that.
No, I
this-
don't think so.
Okay, so none of them matched mine. Which
What?
is, yeah, I know. So, okay, let's go. I got
Well, and I know some that I wanted to say, but I'm like, well, I can't say 12 of them. I
No,
have to just.
I probably did a few more than you, but let's see. For moments, kind of just a moment thing, standing in front of the Great Pyramid in Egypt is like anybody, I'm in my 50s. From childhood to my 50s, that is something you say, "Oh, I hope to get to do that once in my lifetime." Standing at the foot of the Great Pyramid is everything you'd think and more. It is just sheer awe of looking up at this. It's huge. It's absolutely massive. And then to think about what went into making it's mind blowing
Mm-hmm.
and worth it. That was a really cool moment. Um, Laying eyes on the mythical Quetzal in the cloud forests of Costa Rica. So we spent an entire day purposely to try and say, hey, we're going to the cloud forest. We need to find this one bird. It is a national bird. It is the most beautiful bird you can ever imagine seeing. It's this Christmas colored tree bird. It's green and red, and it's got this 3-foot long tail. It's really beautiful, and we found it. And that's not something that happens for every single person. So a lot of people travel to try and find that bird and don't see it. So
That was
really cool.
definitely not on my list.
Well, it was just. I mean,
It was
that
beautiful, though.
that bird and everything that went with it, the hike and up in the cloud forest and everything. That was just a really cool experience day. That
Mhm.
was something you don't get to do very often. And then third on that one, on the moments in Polignano and Mare, if you swim out into the cove and into the caves, which are on the right hand side, if you do that just as the sun is setting on the opposite side of the inlet, you get to see the sun rays beaming through the water and into an inner cavern, which produces the single most beautiful color blue that I've ever seen in my life. I'm in there and I was kind of swimming in the dark, and you're trying to go, and then you go into this back room, and somehow the sun rays hit the water, go underneath and into this dark cave, and in this back room, I came in and I'm like, it's a treacherous swim to get out there. And I told Julie, you have to go out in the water, swim out into that cave. And you did. Just the bluest of blue, the most beautiful blue you could ever see. So that was precious.
That's so interesting to me because that was very, very pretty. And I don't think I've thought about it since we did it.
See, I think about it all the time. Okay, experience. Walking in the dark into Guatemala, into the Mayan ruins at 4 a.m. through the ancient Mayan ruins with 100 miles. It feels like every howler monkey within 100 miles was there with us. And these howler monkeys were deafening, howling and screaming right above our heads in the trees. And for 2 to 3 hours, they were going to town. And just walking in the dark with our flashlights and just knowing that they're up to just screaming above us. It sounds like you're in Jurassic Park. They use those sounds in the Jurassic Park, I'm pretty sure. It's terrifying, but also you feel safe. They're just up there, yelling and hooting and hollering, but it is a cool experience when you're in these Mayan ruins. That was a really neat one.
It is so surprising the first time you hear a howler monkey. Like you think of monkey sounds or a howling sound, but no, it is a roar. Like you said, it sounds like a T-Rex or something. It's crazy. It's the craziest noise.
We put that on Facebook and on Instagram. You can go listen and watch the videos. But anyways.
Yeah. And that will be in a future podcast.
Another experience I had was when I was on my solo trip. I was down in Texas. Don't tell Border Patrol or call ICE or anything, but I dipped into Mexico. I crossed the river because there was a little tamale stand on the other side. A woman and a guy that had this little lean-to hut with a little outdoor fire that they had built, and they were making tamales. And waited across the river into Mexico, and you bought a tamale, and then you would with rice, and you bring it back and sit on the United States side, and people were going back and forth like crazy to get tamales. And I'm like, I don't think the border is as secure here or as special. Like you'd think it's going to have like walls and barbed wire. No, you can walk into Mexico anytime you want. And they can come over. And I thought that was a really surreal moment to be able to do that without anybody saying you can't.
Yeah, when you called me that night and you were telling me what you did, I was so confused. I'm like, what are you talking about? How is that even possible? My vision in my head of the border does not look like that. And then when you sent photos, it's like people are having a party. They're just like coming and going and swimming and doing this and doing that. I'm like, what are you talking about?
And I watched as Mexicans were coming across with their horses and their dogs to graze their cattle on the U.S. side in the national park. at Big Bend National Park. So they're running their cattle on U.S. soil. Then they go home and have lunch, and then they go back, and then they go back and dinner, and they sleep. That's like a part of life, is that they live on both sides of the border, and nobody has a problem with it. I don't get it. It's crazy because
It's
of all the
beautiful.
stuff we hear about, right? So I was thinking it was different, and it was a unique experience. All right.
Absolutely.
One
cool.
last thing. My favorite place that we went. And
Dun dun dun.
you probably know, but
Drum roll.
okay. I expected so much from this itty bitty little country, and it delivered and way more. San Marino was, you come over this hill, and we did a whole podcast on it. You come over this hill in Italy, and here's this little tiny country surrounded by Italy, and it's this giant mountain in the middle of nowhere. It's magical. And then the town is the most beautiful, clean, friendly. It was
Stately.
It was incredible. It's like it's the oldest republic in the world, and I'm still enthralled with it.
Yeah, that was somewhere that was really high on your bucket list because he has a desire to see all the micro countries. That's
I love
something
'em.
that's really cool for you. And I was just thinking when you were describing San Marino, when you're coming from Italy, it kind of looks like the Prudential icon.
Yeah, the
like
big
the
rock.
big mountain. That's kind of what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
Like when you see that, it's this giant mountain. That is a good one. Is that your last one?
That, and I also had an honorable mention for a favorite place, which is the only overlap that we have here. Basically, is honorable mention. I had Northern Ireland.
Okay, so here's what's super interesting to me. And maybe we both kept this out of our favorites just because it was too obvious. But neither one of us said that the concert with Andrea Bocelli in Pompeii.
Yeah, I
was our
thought for
favorite.
sure you were going to say that, so I didn't need to, because, I mean,
I
we
thought for sure you were going
we
to say
think
it.
about it all the time, and we just went to a Vikings game on Christmas Day yesterday, 2 days ago, and Andrea Bocelli played in Minnesota,
Yeah.
which is, all right, we just traveled to Italy this summer for a month and worked our whole month around being there because we had tickets to go see Andrea Bocelli in Pompeii in the ruins, in the amphitheater.
Mhm.
And then he comes to Minnesota in December. So
Very ironic.
with Mateo, with his son, to sing White Christmas. Matt, it was pretty special.
Very ironic. That actually was one of my highlights and
Of course,
is one of
mine
my
too.
favorites, but it is so obvious. And anybody who listened to any of our podcasts about that,
We talked about
they
it a
know
lot.
that. So
Yeah.
I was trying to find things that were a little bit different, but yeah. Okay, well, let's wrap this up with a sneak peek into 2026. Again, a lot of 2026 is unplanned, but we do have some things in the queue. For example,
We're going to the Olympics again, but this time it's the Winter Olympics in Milan Cortina.
da,
Yeah.
da, 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 da.
We have a lot of events that we're going to get to go see, and we get to go to another Roman amphitheater because we're going to the
Yes.
closing ceremonies in Verona, which is being held in the Roman Colosseum / amphitheater.
That is going to be so exciting.
And then we're also going to go to Tahoe soon after that to watch our daughter ski in races out downhill alpine skiing in where she lives out in Tahoe, which we're excited about.
Yeah.
Then you have
And then I'm taking a trip to Paris and London with my mom in the spring because it's important to travel separately sometimes, Tony.
yeah.
So speaking of which, you already mentioned it earlier, but why don't you tell our listeners what epic event of solo travel that you have planned for the summer of 2026?
Well, I'm going to go on a solo trip for a month and a half and walk the Camino de Santiago in Spain. And I'm going to take the Francis route, which starts in France, walks 500 miles across all of the northern part of Spain to the west coast, just north of Portugal. And I am so excited. I think about it almost every waking second. It's just, it's all consuming in my brain. So I hope I don't short these trips that we have between now and then, because I'm thinking about it and planning and working out for it and trying to figure out, every little aspect that I can so that it's a successful trip. And I have plantar fasciitis right now, which is not good. So I got to get that cleared up before I go.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how we fit in our other trips. But so this is an opportunity for me to go be with my mom, who's going to be 80 this year. And, those opportunities are going to be fewer and far between as just life gets busy and our parents get older. So that'll be special. And then you have the opportunity to do this. And honestly, like there are parts of it that intrigue me and that I feel a little jealous of, but by and large, I don't feel called to do it like you do.
And I have an unbelievably a calling, an urge to go. So, and I know we're going to talk. I'm probably going to do, even if I have to do it alone, we'll do a podcast talking about this because we've been asked by a lot of people, you're going alone. Why isn't Julie going? What is this? What does that mean? And how long are you going to go? And how is that going to work? And there's a lot of planning and a lot of stuff that goes with doing the Camino. And in short, the Camino. So I think it's going to be very exciting to talk about it in advance, not only afterwards, but beforehand.
Yeah, a pre-planning and expectations and why you're going by yourself. And maybe I will, like we haven't ruled out the possibility of me meeting you there or spending
Joining
a
me
little
for
bit of
part.
time with you at some point, but I don't feel called to walk 800K.
800K.
Yeah, I don't know. That's
But
crazy.
by the way, my timing allows for 2 things on that trip, which teaser, maybe, well, not maybe. I'm going to be running with the Bulls in Pamplona.
Running from the bulls.
Yeah, which Julie doesn't want me to do any of that. And then also there is a solar eclipse in totality in northern Spain as I finish or come near the ending, depending on my timing, in Spain. So I get to experience that as well. Hopefully you'll be there for that too.
Okay, well, yeah, so that's going to take up some of our time. But as far as some of our other travel goals go, because we're hoping to do more, so totally off the cuff, we have not discussed it. So here's my wish list for 2026. Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
Here's what I'm hoping to still fit in to the time that you're not gone. I want to go to Stockholm to see Linus, who is a former exchange
Oh,
student
I'm
of
going to look like
Tony's.
crap now because I didn't
You
say
didn't
that.
think of it? No, I really
Sorry,
do.
Linus.
I
Love
really
you.
do. We did a podcast on foreign exchange students and how that can really enrich your life. And then after doing that, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's been too long. We really need to get to Sweden. So I would like to do that. And then I would also really like to go to either Portugal or Greece.
Portugal. I'm going to be there.
Well,
So
and that
you
might
can
end
join
up
me.
being the most convenient if you're going to be in Spain for the Camino.
Well, it
And
ends
then
right at Portugal, so.
And then I would also, I would also really love to do some Christmas markets this year, whether that's the Czech Republic, Hungary, Germany, all 3. I don't know, but we've recently helped somebody plan a trip to that, and I got super jealous doing all the research and reading. So
You talked about it a lot.
I did. It looks so fun, and I watched a bunch of YouTube videos, so now I want to go.
Okay. I have my wish list. I would like to go to the Far East. I would like to go to Vietnam, Thailand. I'd also like to go see the Maldives because I know it's beach. But the Maldives are not going to be around. They're going away. So
Where are they going?
underwater. So the Maldives are going to be the first country that ever disappears, and it will be. So it'd be important that we get to the Maldives sometime. I also want to go. Prague is very high on the list for me.
Mm-hmm. Can you go there at Christmas time, or will that not
Yes.
do it for you
No,
because it's too cold?
Well, we can.
What
talk
does it
about
really matter? Isn't that one of those cities that
maybe we can do 2 birds, 1 stone. Here I am, a birder talking about killing birds. All right. Anyways, also I'd like to go and finish off the Balkans because I did those and I really enjoyed my time there. So I mean, I want to go to Hungary, but it's not Balkan, but it's north, and then Romania, and I'd also like to go see some of the other Eastern Bloc countries. I find them fascinating.
Okay. Hang on.
My
These
wish
were
list is
supposed
big.
to be
No,
realistic.
No, this is my wish list. So I would also like to go up the Baltic and go do like Latvia and Estonia and Lithuania, and we could tie that in with Sweden. So there's a trip. That's good.
Okay, that might be a possibility.
So pretty
but
much everywhere and anywhere.
probably we're not going to get to all the countries that you want.
Maybe
Like I think the Far East might be a stretch.
No, that's one we need to prioritize. We have not been over there. We have.
I
been
think
to a
that
lot
might
of
be
Europe.
2027.
We'll see.
Yeah. Otherwise, you might have to just not do the Camino this year.
Okay, 2027 it is.
Okay. Anyway, well, there you have it. It will be interesting to see how this year pans out. Where will our adventures take us? How long will we be gone? Will we be sucked back into working more and playing less? Let's hope not. Who will be responsible for vacuuming every week? We'll see.
No comment.
These are all great questions for the crystal ball. But for now, as we bring this wild year to a close, we are grateful for each other and for our bold decision to prioritize our marriage and to take advantage of our health and our mobility and to live out our travel dreams now and not later. It's not lost on us how lucky we are to have been able to have this incredible year, and we can't keep spending at this rate without some serious changes. But our motto has become Fibby, Tony's motto, more than 9. You might have to look that up if you're not sure what that means.
FIBI.
We thank you for listening. We hope you have enjoyed this journey with us. And we wish for you a blessed 2026 filled with memorable moments and maybe some bold moves of your own. Happy New Year and
Wheels up.